So perhaps you, my dear and esteemed viewer, have come across or heard this term NPC, non-player character. Background people, I believe as Dolores Cannon used to refer to them as. Perhaps you're familiar with this term. I understand it to mean agents of the artificial intelligence hive mind, system agents, these background characters, NPCs, non-player characters, and as I understood it, those without souls, those that had somehow either were manifestations of our own co-creative abilities as a human, and when I understood it in that fashion, it led to this sort of paranoid thinking within me, this sort of judgmental type of filter that I was, I guess, inviting into my awareness, and thus, I believe, corrupting my my free-running, clear-running conduit to source. Like if I were having inspiration, communication from source, because of my own thinking, my strata of my own mental processes that were being filtered with this sort of concept of a non-player characters, like not everybody that I come across has a soul, and ooh, I better be cautious or second guess things and such. So that being said, that was how I kind of have been operating under, and I have made videos and statements where I've said as much. I kind of say this black and white sort of a final judgmental sort of statement, like, oh, those non-player characters and those entities without souls, and so drawing this very clear demarcation of separation, and in a sense, creating judgment and separation through my ego. That's how I kind of interpret it. However, let me provide further insight on this topic now, and I just watched a video from Sam the Illusionist. If you don't know who that is, I watch his stuff through YouTube, but I just watched his latest video where he had another session where he channeled Metatron, and that topic of NPCs was focused upon and expounded upon. There was elucidations provided thereof from the Archangel Metatron. Namaskar. Anyway, woo, that was beyond adequately heated. So let me kind of just share. I highly encourage you to go look up Sam the Illusionist, his videos, and his most recent one. And I'm just going to kind of share what I took from Sam's channelings or messages from Metatron. And there was a test, there was a method provided that Metatron passed along to Sam to determine, for a person to determine whether or not, and you could do this test on yourself, but it was involving a concentration, and the test was to determine you could do it with somebody that you knew or somebody you were engaged with, or your own self, and that test involved focusing on one point, your attention, concentrating your attention upon, say, one point of your body, like your right leg, or perhaps your left hand or whatnot, but that would be your focus. And if you were and then in the process of doing that and focusing your concentration on one portion of your body, you were excluding, your awareness was focused solely there, and the rest of your attention and the rest, like say your body, was sort of melted and disappeared because you were concentrating on one point. And if you were not able to do that, then technically you would be considered a non-player character, an unsouled being. So that led me to amend, because I wasn't really comfortable with I mean, I can point to a lot of people in my especially in my past life over a year ago, when I was living in the Matrix, when I didn't know anything else, was trapped by the digital Matrix. Many people that I was engaged with had to be NPCs, and I had to look at them as such, and conduct my actions accordingly to escape the digital Matrix, to engage in my ascension. And so, but since then, I don't feel like I need such drastic black and white sort of, I think it's sometime when you're maybe in an emergency mode, you sometimes have to kind of go with, less subtle thought processes, and when you are in an emergent status and you need to get to safer ground, or get, however you want to describe it, but ascension. But at some point you have to live like a monk. You have to separate yourself. You have to empower yourself, and that's what I did. And so I had to make some I had to triage in a very emergent manner. I used to be a combat medic, and in this concept of triage. So you focus on the things that are most crucial, most critical, and you allocate your resources to those things that are, the things that don't require as much emergency attention. You can let them stay, but those things that are gonna die, like your soul, if that's what you were fighting for, well, you needed to marshal your resources to save that and act accordingly. So, but since then, with this NPC idea and the criteria that was passed along to Sam the Illusionist, I believe that anybody, like, of course I'm going to say I'm a souled person, right? I'm have a soul, but I believe insofar as to the point where I allow my attention to waver and kind of drift back into things of the third dimension. Say, if I don't know, see a girl on TV or something, and I catch myself kind of gazing, and then anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it could be anything, but that's kind of like my weakness. But anyway, but the point is like, I believe that at any moment, to the extent that a person can allow their concentration to waver, and this is going to also out me as a big nerd, but from of course I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, tabletop gaming. But there's a saying from this Warhammer 40K and it goes like this: a mind without purpose will wander in dark places. And that's from an imperial proverb. So it goes, a mind without purpose will wander in dark places. And that is true. And it was something that was a mantra for me as I kind of went in and out of the whole digital matrix, and finally had my ultimate ascension with my Kundalini activation, and thus empowering myself and putting my lower nature in check and operating from my higher nature, which is the crown chakra connected to the galactic chakra, which is in turn connected to intelligent infinity, thus creating an source-empowered individual. But I maintain that I'm capable of being a non-player character insofar to the point that I allow myself to be distracted and lose my focus and my sense of purpose, my mission, which, the artificial hive mind matrix has its many, temptations, however you want to look at it. So, but that was what was passed along to Sam, was this criteria that if a soul being would be able to focus their attention on one point and it would not waver, and an entity that was unable to do that would be considered a non-player character. And so, that's a very high and lofty, there's a lot of different levels and nuances to focusing your attention. And if you understand that we on average have about 70,000 thoughts a day, the average person, and it has a term, it's like called the monkey mind, this sort of unfocused mind where, your thoughts are constantly going through. And so that's a very strict criteria. I don't think, unless you've been practicing what's in yoga, the sixth limb of the 8 limbs of yoga is known as dharana, and it's basically focused concentration. And da means holding or maintaining, and ana means other or on something else. So each these limbs of yoga were, basically prepares you for the next level. But there's varying, like the yogis in Tibet that can melt snow through their focused concentration and experience extreme hardship. That's one level of focused concentration. So I kind of enjoyed this session with Sam. He talked about a lot of other things, and this ties into the last element of this non-player character versus soul player character, and it was also tied into having an original thought, and meaning that non-player characters, Sam was talking about, shared from his own life, how people that he knew, like, he's known in his life, and like 10 years ago and fast forward to present, they're still doing the same things, they're still engaged in the same things. And so the concept of an original thought was also introduced into this equation to differentiate between non-player characters and people with souls and whatnot. So, and with me trying to be less judgmental and less black and white, with I'm trying to create a softer understanding of this, and also realize, bring it home to me that to the point where I'm not being original or creative, and to the point where I'm not concentrating on what I should be concentrating on, I can slip back into NPC mode, right? And so, but with this original thought, I want to share how I interpret that and how I've done this, incorporated this into my own life, but these are the little things that I will do to maintain creativity and an original thought. And for example, the way I pronounce the word knowledge, I pronounce it now, in keeping with the original thought, I pronounce it knowledge. And what I'm doing is because there's a mentor, a spiritual mentor of mine, is Vasamazulu Baba Credo Mutwa, a great Zulu shaman, and he's passed away. I passed away back, I think, 2020. But the knowledge of him came into my life, and I was fascinated with him, and and whatnot. But so I make it a point every time that I'm going to use the word knowledge or read it, I pronounce it knowledge, because that's how Vasamazulu Baba Credo Mutwa pronounced it, and it keeps me kind of on my mental acuity. And I believe it's my own little homage to the great spiritual master that Credo Mutwa was and is, and he's still, all that's still alive in the multiverse. So anyway, this video basically is meant to just talk about this non-player character concept, and to the extent that we're all distracted by the digital matrix and not being original and creative, we all can be NPCs. And if there are some people, I'm just going to say it, there are some that are they're long gone. They're hopelessly lost to the machine, lost to the AI high mind matrix through their addictions, through their careers, their jobs, whatever it is they think. But it is through their ego separation, and living through their ego separation. Someone who's lost to that's their path, and they're gonna, they'll fulfill their NPC destiny in that manner. But you who hit the subscribe button, we're gonna learn how to stay within our empowered, soul-centered, human divine matrix. And Infinite Prime Creator, the Divine Grid Programmer, will be there along with all his hierarchies of light and power and protection to see us on our way. We will hit the mark, like in Zen Buddhism, Zen archery, we will hit that mark, because that's what the word sin means, is to miss the mark. So every time you have a sin, you're missing the mark, and you're slipping back into NPC, non-player character territory. Something like that. I'm going with that.
Namaste, namaskaram.